So going down here, and we're going to be calling this method. What's going to happen? Okay, perform birth is going to call establish offspring connections based on mother's connections, and then it's going to return back to right after the method call. In other words, it's going to call off to this, it's going to be inside of this code, and then it's going to come back to this point. Does that make sense to people? Okay, so in this code, it's going to be chunking along each statement here. It creates a new variable called mother, makes it point to whatever this is pointing to. It adds the baby to the adds a new member of the population and gives it the name offspring, right? It has a variable that refers to that baby. Okay, then we're about to call this establish offspring connections based on mother's connection, okay? We pass it two pieces of information. I'll talk about what that passing it means. We give it two pieces, just like I'm handing you my keys and telling you which one it is. And that's what's called a method call. We're making a method call to establish offspring connections based on mother's connection, right? So while we're making that method call, it's running code that's in this. It's running Java statements that are in establish offspring connections based on mother's connections. After those statements are done, maybe it's 1 line, maybe it's 10 lines, maybe it's 100 lines, maybe it's 10,000 lines spread through different methods. After that's done, we're going to return back at this point here. Okay? In other words, we're coming down here, we make this call, and then we're going to return and go here. Okay? That's the standard flow of execution. There's an exception for what are called exceptions. We're going to get to them. Okay? But that's why they're called exceptions, because they're exception to the rule. So you go down here, you call this returns, you continue on execution. Okay? Okay. So we want to know what's going on here. How is this working? And in fact, if we were to go look at establish offspring connections based on mother's connections, what we'll actually see is, and darn it, I thought I had it right here. Let me actually just open it a second, because it actually, I would like to show it to you here. Example models, ABM model with birth, death. Yeah, it's Eclipse debugging one. Okay, come on. In fact, probably Eclipse debugging will be just fine. Pardon me as I get this up here. I believe this has the same functions here. Yes, there we go. Okay, this is what I want to show you. Establish offspring connections based on mother's connections. That actually takes two arguments, two parameters. One is called offspring, one is called mother. And what we're going to address now is this offspring and mother. Don't those sound familiar? Where did we see those before? The names used in born birth, mother and offspring. But the answer is they're different. It turns out that they don't care about these names here. It's for the sake of this code, we can use those names to mean whatever this code wants those names to mean. When we return, then we'll be back sort of in a situation where these mother and offspring again mean these things up here. So we're going to take a look at this. In order to understand this, we have to talk about what's called the calls.